Yes, we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a really packed agenda. I know we're also waiting for Carrie Porter from City of Overland to be here too and present. But want to go ahead and get started. We'll be bringing out some more chairs. We had 12 people register, so this is really good. Now we have, usually it happens when you have a registration, less people show up. But in this case, it's always been more people, so very happy to have that. So my name is Sharon Pearson. I'm the Lorain County Mobility Manager. Thank you for coming to the final Coordinated Transportation Planning meeting of the year. This is where we're going to be setting the goals for the coordinated plan. We're going to be putting those goals in, and everybody in this room is going to be helping us make those decisions. So this is going to be a little interactive today. But first, what I would like to do is I want to say thank you to the Nord Family Foundation for providing and supporting the refreshments and also the transportation today. Thanks to Kendall, we were able to bring 4 people in from Overland, Elyria, and Lorain. So very glad to have that group of people here because we would not been able to do that without that support. So we are going to be, we are recording this meeting. It's going to be available online. So I know there's a couple of people who have to slip out today. So if that's the case, you will be able to watch the rest of it on the Move Lorain County site. And that's why we're also collecting your email addresses so we can let you know where you can find that information. So this is our introduction or our agenda for today. We're going to start with introductions. A lot of times we want to know who is in the room. We're going to talk about what is mobility management. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, especially as we begin to identify what these goals are. Veronica Newsom was supposed to speak today. I'm going to try to review her presentation on her behalf. She was not able to make it due to a family emergency. Carrie Porter from the City of Overland is also supposed to be here. I have not checked my emails to talk about the proposed transit system that the City of Overland has. Then we are going to, this is going to be the interactive part where we're going to go into Menti and we're going to have you help us prioritize what are the unmet needs, both from the past and the ones that we've heard recently over the last year. Then we're going to have you get up and vote with your dots that you should have. And if you don't have them, we can make sure you have them on the wall. We're looking for you to select 5 of the goals that you believe we should be working on from 2024 to 2028. Then we want you to have a small group discussion about those 5 goals that we selected. I'd just like to have your input because we have to put together action steps, strategy, all of that. And I would like to get that input from you all too. And then what are the next steps for us completing this plan? So first of all, let's start with introductions. And I'll start right there with Mike.
Morning, Mike Longo, Director of Lorain County Workforce Development Agency.
Thank you.
I'm John Gall. I'm Administrative Assistant to Commissioner Jeff Riddell.
Whitney Oliver, Executive Director for the Gathering Health House.
Hannah Crowley, Program Manager, City of Lorain.
Carissa with the Chronicle.
Rebecca Haywood, Chief of Staff, Neighborhood Life.
Hi, Erin Hallahan, Strategic Initiatives Manager of Lorain Public Library System.
Here, yes.
Marion Parker with the NFB.
Go on the wall here.
Sure. Here, Williams, Lorain County Public Health. Good morning, I'm Brittany Levin, the Marketing Communications Officer at the State Foundation for Town. Phil Spencer with Flat Rock Home.
Shirley Parker.
Began Bar.
Preston, Outreach at Kendall.
My name is Tor, I'm the driver, transportation, and Lowood.
Judy Carlin, CEO from Lorain Metropolitan Housing Authority.
Jeff Miller with Murray Ridge.
Johanna Cal, Program Officer for the North County Foundation. Pam Novak, Lorain County Transit. Cindy Barker, Lorain County Transit.
Forrest Mormon, this is the township trustee. Conaway Transportation. Jim Ross, Transportation Manager, that will be work.
And then my coworkers, we have,
I'm Susie Black, I'm the consumer care coordinator in our town.
and then we also have Christine, the Tuesday Plus. And she is my supervisor. And we have two other people dancing in from the Lorain County Office on Aging. Let's see if they'll come in real quick and introduce themselves, because this is very, very important.
Yes, it is.
Hey, y'all.
Introduction.
You want to introduction of who you are.
I am Lauren Kostowski, the outgoing executive director of the Lorain County Office on Aging, and I will let my incoming introduce herself.
And I'm Nicole Belmore Pierce, the incoming executive director.
Oh, and then right behind you, we're doing introduction, Mayor.
I am an older adult.
So, thank you very much. So I put that in. So before we begin, I thought it would be very, very important to talk about what the mobility management program is. Whenever I say transportation, everybody gets me confused with Lorain County Transit. I want to make sure that you understand that is a very clear distinction. I do not work for the county. I do not work at Lorain County Transit. I work with them. So the mobility management program, when I say transportation, we're talking about all means of transportation. Transit, senior transportation, ride sharing, volunteer transportation, active transportation, and other driving needs. Like I know Lauren and I have been working on a car fit program. So it's not just about these other modes. So the job of the mobility manager is to encourage innovation and flexibility for the right fit for that person. Also, we want the information to be easy and to assist the person who needs transportation with using those services. Like for instance, when I do the monthly bus ride-alongs. And then we want to continually be getting input from the community so we know what improvements are needed or what needs to be adjusted. And then we present that information to the entity that needs that information. This is a map of where most of the mobility managers are. So you can see we cover about 2/3 of the state of Ohio. And there was about 40 of us all together. Most of them are in rural communities. Lorain County is considered a small urban and rural community. And we're one of the few in that category. This position, like I said, supports all modes of transportation in Lorain County. It includes transit. And I mentioned those other modes, but we primarily also have a focus on seniors, person with disabilities, low income, and the workforce. And it could be anybody else who needs any type of transportation services, but these are our main areas that we focus on. We're funded through by the federal government through the state of Ohio at 80%, and then we need a 20% match. So wherever that mobility manager is housed, they have to raise 20% to match to pull down that 80%. And then this position it gets a little confusing here, fall under the Office of Transit at ODOT, but I am not transit. In fact, I am not allowed to dispatch, to drive, to do any of those kind of services. So in 2018, we did the initial writing of this plan, and these were the original goals. You're going to see these again later. But the goals in the plan, the original plan, we're to increase awareness of transportation options, developing and implementing a mobility management program, to explore data collection and planning synergies, to coordinate educational training programs, and to explore transportation pilot projects. So those were the original 5 goals. Now, on the wall, you can see we have about 10. We've added on based on some of the focus groups, the specific information we heard from focus groups. So any questions about mobility management and what it means? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does that cover Uber and Lyft?
Right here, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it does cover that. Uber and Lyft isn't as prevalent as it was prior to COVID in Lorain County. But it does exist here in Lorain County, and a lot of times people don't even know that, but it is on our transportation guide that we hand out, that it is available. Along with another program that's beneficial to older adults or other people called GoGo Grandparent that links with Uber and Lyft services. That's where instead of using a phone, somebody can make a call, and then on the other end of the call, they will use the technology to connect with Uber and Lyft. So I don't know how many people knew about that program, but it does exist. So I was supposed to present on Lorain's proposed transit system, but Mayor, I have the presentation. Did you want to kind of talk about it a little bit as I bring it up, or?
Well, I can give a little background. So, Veronica Newsom from our engineering department has presented to me a plan for 5 bus routes throughout the city of Lorain. To try to get everyone to be drawn to the downtown area, but also to get people to shopping, to medical, and to other necessities that they needed. So they presented the plan to me, and I said, yeah, go for it. About a $7 million grant. The day before the grant was due, they came to my office and said, oh, we just found out that we have to have the county submit the grant, not the city. So I got on the phone and I called Dave Moore. And I said, hey, Dave, are you working? He said, well, I'm home right now. And I said, well, we need you to come down to City Hall. What time can you get down here? And he said, I don't know, about 11 o'clock. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I took him up to the 5th floor and we stood there with our engineers and with the 4th floor. Took him to the 4th floor. We got together with our engineers and we got on our knees and we said, Dave, you gotta help us. We gotta get this grant submitted. And I don't know if the transportation people are gonna like this, you know. And I said, hey, if it's good for the city of Lorain, it may lead to an expansion of the transportation program throughout the county. And we really need to develop a good transportation system for all of Lorain County. So he took the plans and he went and talked to the other commissioners, and he talked to the people who are associated with transportation in Lorain County. He called me up at 4:30 and said, we are submitting the grant for the city of Lorain. So that's what working together is all about, is being able to call someone who you need and get their support in a very, very short period of time. No politics, no he said, she said, this, that. No, they just did it for us. And so I appreciate the fact that we do work together in Lorain County. We kind of leave our politics at the door and we do what's best for our citizens. So that's my introduction to this, and then I'll let Chair continue with the actual presentation because I'm not prepared to talk about it.
Well, you did a good job for not being prepared, I think. So I wanted to show you the overall map of what is being proposed right now. And it's actually 5 different routes, and I'll show you one by one so that you can see, and I will make sure you two get a copy of the presentation so that you can maybe take a look at it, or I can give you bigger copies of the presentation. But this is gonna be there. I know that I believe NOACA wants a stress test of each of the routes to make sure that they are going to work. And so there is gonna be a phase-in, a proposed right now, phase-in every year of testing a route. And I think you would be very interested in being able to see where the routes are gonna go. So let me go back to the beginning. So in 2024, they want to propose what's called the Western route. And you can see, it's gonna be even hard for everybody. The red here is the Western route, and you can see this purple is where the current Lorain County Transit route currently is. So there's not a connection between the two there. Maybe there'll be something where they can connect those two, because it may be very important to do that. But where the Western Loop is going to stop is at Westgate Shopping Center, Valero on 58, corner of 58 and Tower, Cleveland Clinic, DaVita Dialysis, Cleveland Clinic on Cooper Foster, Deerfield Shopping Center, Mercy Health at Oak Point, Oak Tree Drive North and Oak Point, the Oak Hill West Apartments, Mercy Hospital entrance, Lakeshore Colonial Apartments. I figured it'd be very important for you to know. So this is kind of almost a medical kind of route, which is an area that is really missing in Lorain County, or in the city of Lorain in general. I remember being at a bus stop one day and a guy said he had walked all the way over here to Fifth Street after he got released from the hospital from Mercy. And I was like, okay, because we really do need something, because that's what people have to do if they want to connect to Lorain County Transit right now. We don't have anything that goes over there that's affordable, like Lorain County Transit. So as you can see, they're proposing 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 38-minute round trip. In 2025, it looks like they're proposing a stress test on two of the other loops, the Lighthouse Loop, and also the East Lorain Loop. So the Lighthouse Loop is also running 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 39 minutes round trips. Lorain Script Sign, Sunset Pier Park, Lakeview Park at Lakeview Drive, Westgate Shopping Center, Valero on 58, corner 58 and Tower, Big Lots on Tower Boulevard, Lorain Plaza Shopping Center, Talbot Park, let's see, Broadway and West 29, Advanced Auto Parts on Broadway, Gyros and More, and Palace Theater. So now you can see, the Western Loop and the Lighthouse Loop connecting. And I believe that this will definitely be able to connect to the Lorain County Transit route as it is right now, unless there's some changes that are made. And then the East Lorain Loop, Erie and California Avenue, Erie and Kansas Avenue. So this is, it has on here, Valero on Route Road and 611. These are a lot more street areas. It will stop at Lorain Script Sign, Sunset Pier Park, and some other addresses that are listed. So you can start to see how these are all going to start being connected together. And then in 2026, they're looking at the South Lorain Loop running from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then the downtown loop for entertainment purposes from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So the downtown loop, Lorain Script Sign, Sunset Pier Park, Lakeview Park. I'm just going to highlight some of the major places: Westgate Shopping, Advanced Auto Parts, Gyros and More, and Palace Theater. And the South Loop El Centro, DM Food Mart Marathon on East 28th. Tacoma and Homewood Drive, Fairless Park, Oakwood Park. Let's see, Advance Outer Parks on Broadway, Gyros and More, Palace Theater, Lorain's Script Sign, Sunset Pier Park. So, it's been interesting. Some people have heard about this project and others haven't. So, this is all of them together, showing what they're doing. I thought it was very interesting to point out that here in Lorain, 9% of the households lack a vehicle and 43% of the households have only one vehicle. So we can see how important this is going to be. The city is designing and they're suggesting of these 5 new fare-free bus routes in Lorain. Is what they are proposing.
Fair free? No. Wow. That's awesome.
That's what they're proposing now. How that shakes out in the end,
Yeah.
because they do have to work with Lorain County Transit on this. We'll see how that is. So I don't know if you have any questions. I am recording this meeting so I can send those questions over to Veronica for any detail, or maybe Mayor Bradley knows the answers to some of them. Yes.
Will any of these routes be operating on weekends?
That is a good question. I am not sure about that. Do you know, Mayor, are you looking at just Monday through Friday,
Or
or?
I think that they'd be operating on weekends also,
Okay.
especially the ones that are gonna bring people downtown.
Right.
You know, to Lakeview Park and, to some of the different facilities. I mean, if you have a medical issue, you want, I might have an appointment on Saturday, so, we want to include weekends in the bus route.
Right.
Church on Sunday.
Yeah, that's been a big one.
Church on Sunday.
For older adults, whenever we've asked questions, about transportation, weekends, especially for, Sunday services has been something that has been requested. Too. So any other questions? Yes.
For us that are not in the know and probably would never use these routes only once in a great life, how do you get these route maps to the general public so that they know it's available and when they run and so forth and so on?
That's part of the mobility, well, I mean, along with the city of Lorain promoting it and probably Lorain County Transit, I know the mobility manager, you know, that's what I do, is I have all Lorain County Transit route maps included in the book, in our transportation guide, and every tabling event that I go to, I make sure that people get that information. We also have it, like to promote it online on our Move Lorain County website as well. And possibly, it might possibly be directed to somebody if they call 211 as well. Because we do have when people call in for transportation, we do have operators that can point people to the right direction on information like that. But most likely what we might do is point them back to the city of Lorain's website with that information, or Lorain County Transit, wherever it may be. Yes.
Do these routes connect to the surrounding, suburbs, I call them suburbs, Avon Lake, Overland,
Not-
Amherst, area, so that you can go between, you know, you might have a job in the area, you live in Lorain on the west side, how do you get to it?
Well, right now, as you can see, and that's still gonna be a discussion that needs to be held, which is there's a fixed route right now that comes up Broadway,
Right.
and that connects between Elyria and Lorain. And so if that route still exists, that is a way to get to Lorain. Now, the other areas, I cannot say. That is something you would have to talk with the county about. We can help support or encourage, but that is the job of Lorain County Transit to look at that. And that all depends on the funding that we have available as well.
I just want to add, Christine, like,
Yes.
this is a pilot, so we're gonna try it out,
Yes.
and if it works, I'm sure that there'll be more improvements. We work very close with them as well on this, with the active transportation piece of the health department. So, when we hear the word pilot, it's just a try to see if we like it, evaluate it, and then in the future, just like Mayor was saying, I'm sure this is a success that everyone else will probably hop on board. And to kind of get back to his comment in the back, I feel like everyone, I heard oohs and ahs in the room. So I think once it starts, everyone's gonna start to notice these, transit routes. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
Excited to try.
Thank you, because the funding for this project is not slated until 2027. And so these are pilot projects based on funding available to make sure that they happen. So, yes, Marion?
Is the map somewhere?
No, it's not there right now. That is something that I can make sure that everybody has a link to and gets, so you have that
I'm
information.
not familiar with the entire, everything you said here in terms of like where the stops are.
Yes.
So-
Yes, I wasn't either till I started working on it. Now I'm very familiar. Yes.
And I do just want to say, so the county is in the process of doing their 5-year strategic plan. And on Monday and Tuesday, there are actually 2 think tank sessions that are happening at the community college where if this is what you're interested in, you want to please show up.
Well,
And
please,
there's also countywide surveys, so
Yes.
please make sure that you are taking those surveys and voicing your opinion because they really are going through the data and it is gonna help shape what we're doing next.
How can
And-
we get to the meeting
If
if you
you
don't drive?
that is a great question.
please sign up for the think tank, so we know how many are coming. That's a good thing. It's a 2-dayer, but you can do just 1 day if you'd like. And the first session is, 1 to 5 on, Monday, and then 9 until noon, or just, so anyhow, afternoon, morning for the 2. But if you sign up for whichever one or both, and that's the best thing to do. And I'll try to find a website for that.
What's the date on that again?
That'd be Monday and Tuesday, the 30th and 31st.
And the times again are?
I'm gonna get you that. I'm thinking it's 2 to 5 and, 2 to 5 and 9 to noon, yes. Mhm.
And I can make sure, I can give your information.
Yes, if you could, appreciate that.
And Marion,
So
I
much,
know
'cause
that
I
you
have to
can
go,
use
so.
the Overland connector
Yeah.
to get there.
In Lorain, what do I use?
That's a good
Shed
question.
light.
Yeah, I think Brittany,
Yeah.
maybe Brittany can get your contact information. Yeah, Brittany can get she's with Community Foundation, so she.
But that's not just me.
No, I know.
Anybody who wants to go, that doesn't have transportation to get there, how will they get there? These are important meetings. That should be one of the things that you think about. How can people get to these meetings?
Yeah. Well, thank you for mentioning that, because I will tell you that Sherry and Marianne have made me very, very aware of trying to be all inclusive. I'm still gonna make a mistake in doing that, but I'm gonna try to do my best still, and I think everybody else is too, because that's why we need people like you at these meetings, because a lot of times people haven't been there who don't have a disability and we don't think about it. It's not because we don't want to, it's because we haven't been challenged to. So, thank you.
And now that we know, we will restructure how we do things.
Yes. Okay, so Carrie Porter, unfortunately, it seems like she was not able to be here today. I will briefly talk about what their plan is. I know that they're working with Overland College right now to design some routes. And they're looking at using electric vehicles in Overland. Because right now they use the Overland Connector, which is contract through Lorain County Transit. And I think it might be 2 vehicles. Pam and Tiffany, I don't know if you know a little bit more about their project.
They, as of right now, they are definitely looking at one. A lot of it's gonna depend on the council, whether they can go with 2 vehicles.
Okay. All right, because I know at one time they were looking at an autonomous vehicle and then an electric bus, but maybe they're going down to just the one. The autonomous vehicle is not going to be just self-driving. There was going to be somebody who's going to be in the vehicle at all times. And they were going to pay somebody to do that, but, so I'm sorry that it wasn't able to be here to present on that. So we'll go ahead and move on unless there's any other questions. see. Sorry, I am running the tech by myself today. It's a little challenging. There we go. Okay,
Yeah, and if you want to look up strategic plan, just type in your Google Lorain County strategic plan. It'll take you right to the site.
I guess
Very
I
easy.
do have a question, Sharon, about what we were just talking about in terms of this new, what did you call it, the west? The western.
Western Loop,
The western loop. Yeah.
for Lorain,
Yeah.
okay.
In terms of new fixed routes, how are those decided on in terms of, you were talking about this one is, medical, primarily medical stops, a lot of, Mercy Allen and Cleveland Clinic, outposts and things. Great, a little bit of shopping in there too. But in terms of what's the priority and, what stops are made along the way? Where do those, is that the think tank that comes up with that stuff, or what? How
Well,
are those routes determined?
I work closely with the city engineer, and we are in meetings, with Lorain County Public Health, having discussions on what some of the priorities are. A lot of this, I believe, probably also comes from the needs that we know exist. And these needs exist in the coordinated plan, which are access to medical, access to food, access to shopping, which includes pharmacy. So those are the areas, all of the areas I think they're looking at really hitting. But Veronica is a city engineer, and she's very brilliant and very smart. And she's also taken in consideration sidewalks and road patterns and other things. I mean, she's really thought inclusively about this plan, and along with what the needs are. And we know I'm sure the city of Lorain gets calls from Mercy Hospital wanting connection to their hospital because they're struggling getting people over there. As I said, there was a guy that walked all the way to 5th Street from Mercy with a broken foot or whatever, because there's nothing to get him, from there to here. So they know that that's a need, not only for patients, but for employment as well. So I can't speak directly as to how everything is done, but yeah, it's data driven. Veronica is very smart. She's got a degree that I don't have. And so she's taken all that in consideration.
Good question.
I don't know if you have anything to add, Mayor.
No, I'm not for it.
I don't know if you have anything to add, Mayor. Yeah.
It's a pilot program, so it's, subject to modification
Yes.
and change. And that's what the pilot is all about, is to make sure that you're providing the transportation to people that most need it.
Great. So now this is part of an interactive piece that we're going to be doing in the coordinated transportation plan. It is important that we prioritize what the unmet needs are. And so what we have, and I'll read these off, are a list of the old unmet needs and then a list of the new ones that we've uncovered through focus groups and the transportation survey. So in 2018, these are the first ones, and I'll point out which ones are new. In 2018, it was improve awareness of transportation options. Also increase access to grocery stores and drug stores. This was mentioned again in 2023. Increase access to doctors and medical services was mentioned again in 2023. Improve transport for elderly and disabled. Increase rideshare options. Increase bike path and bike friendly roads, which was mentioned again in 2023. Improve sidewalks for walking friendly roads, mentioned again in 2023. We had in there develop and implement a mobility management program. We believe that has been basically accomplished. So we have that striked out in red. Continue 5310 funding. we struck that out in red because that's something that we're already doing. So we feel that those are no longer unmet needs. Coordinate countywide efforts, was an old one. Now the new one that we heard a lot from the focus groups especially were lack of clarity and education about current Lorain County transit system and the request for more information. And also in 2023, connect Lorain County Transit with Cleveland RTA. Also in 2023, add technology in transit, yet keep option for phone communication for people who do not have access to technology. And then in 2023, improve resources and access to places of employment. So, are there any unmet needs that may not be listed here? This is what we've gathered, like I said, from the surveys and the focus groups. This is the interactive part. What we want you to do now is take out your phones and go to menti.com. And then all of these are going to be listed. And we want you to begin to prioritize 1 to 10. And Kara, I don't know if you can work. Here we'll work with Marion and Sherry. And what they have these. They have these in order. They have these in order of the way that I read those off.
Okay.
So what you're gonna do is all 10 of those are there. You're gonna select all 10 and then put them in the order from 1 to 10, 1 being the most important, with 10 being the least important, on the app. And I'm gonna, let me see if I can get to the, let me see if I can.
The QR
Oh.
code.
Oh, yeah, I will, it's on the, let me get to the live results. Yeah, let me get to the live results. Okay, where are the live results? Hold on. My results are on the other screen. I'm trying to run back here.
Yeah.
Hold on. I do have the live results. I will share them with you. Here, once I'll share it with you. I'm just trying to move it over, the screen over.
So when you open it up, then we'll have the things that we can write.
The code will be there. Let me just.
Sharon, right now, we can't answer the question.
Yeah, it's just opening to the screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's using the QR code or the website. This is, we both
Okay.
just have that.
All right. We might have to skip this. I
That's
hate
old
to.
school and raise our hand.
So it's supposed to look like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to go in under menti.com
Okay.
through Google and hit the hyperlink up under that. And it says it'll
Off
pull
the
you
QR
straight
code.
to a code. No, I went to Google and hit menti.com.
I'm sorry, go to menti.com. Yeah, the code is up at the top here, 2148 2743. 2148 2743.
Okay, wait, hold on. 2, 1.
And then you choose.
That popped it up.
Now it's working.
Okay. It might be because I also didn't have this thing on. So the first question is, this is just so if you haven't used this before, just as a test. Are you morning person, night person, or neither? Just so you know how it works.
Okay.
You have to show the next slide.
Yes, I think so.
Says.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna see. We have a lot of night owls here, evidently. And yeah, a lot more night people than morning people.
Nothing good happens
Okay.
after 10 o'clock.
So you let me know, Kara, when you're ready.
Don't need anything after 7.
I don't know about anybody else, but this is like my favorite program. It breaks up a meeting, so you're not listening. I don't want to talk the entire time. And it's anonymous, so I don't know who's saying what. And it stores all this information too, so if you want to shoot, use the data later.
Sharon, I sent you your email, the strategic plan.
Okay.
Just to your
Thank you.
email, okay?
I've been promoting it.
I know, yeah. I just sent it again,
Okay.
just in case.
I can send it out.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay. Tom for joining us.
Sorry, we're just waiting to make sure that they can participate.
Okay.
Just 1 minute. You ready or no?
I think she's still up there behind me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Finally believe it.
Okay, ready? 2, 1, 4, 8.
So we have 15 night people right now, 8 morning, and 5 who are neither.
Or both.
Or both. The other people get the work done, evidently. Are you guys good? You're good? Okay. Okay, so just want to see, who's in the room, nonprofit, business, county, city, general, other. So we have a lot of nonprofits in the room right now, followed by county, other, few city. So about 13 nonprofit, 5 county. It's general public, we have 4, which is really good. Glad to have you here. And other, and then city. So no business. In favor.
General, public, resident, what other? You have the right one.
You guys ready? Let's move on. Okay. All right. So this is where 1 is the most need. 10 is what you say is the least need from 1 to 10. And you want to click all of them and then reorder them the way from 1 to 10. 10 being, I should have put that at the top, I'm sorry. 10 being what we mostly need. And you're going to see all the adjustments on the screen based on how you prioritize everything. So we have improved awareness, increased access to medical, increased access to grocery, improve transportation for disabled, increase rideshare, improve active transportation, connect to Cleveland RTA, add transit technology with phone option, improve transportation for workforce, coordinate countywide efforts. 1 to 10.
This is the same thing right here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So where to organize these papers and what?
Well, you can either do it on the phone or you can do it that way. If you do it, so
I'm not sure.
What's most important, 1 or 5?
1. 1 is most
Yeah,
important.
you can.
So as you can see, this is changing as you put in your information.
So you put them in order?
Yes, the First one's the one you want at the top, like, what is the most important one to you?
You said you have to read all of them and then, okay.
Yeah, so we'll allow a little bit of time here for you to take a look. So right now, at first is improve transportation for disabled workforce, coordinate countywide efforts. Workforce is now moved in first, with increased access to medical, transportation for disabled. Coordinate countywide efforts.
Did I give you the total numbers of each one?
What's that?
Can you show total numbers of each one?
I
Some might
I
be
could,
one,
I-
others might be three, I'm just.
yeah, I could have
You'll-
probably in the system.
But you can do that later to evaluate.
I
what
might
the
be able to,
demographics
I'm
would
not
be,
sure.
Cause we're talking 25 people in the room.
Yeah,
So there's, I'm just, who would be most likely to suggest this one versus this one?
well, these are just to put the needs in the plan, and then what we want to do is, coordinate the goals with these needs to make sure that we're meeting them and putting them in some of the, if we don't address them as a goal, how can we incorporate them into a goal? So we have workforce right now is number one. Second, improve transportation for disabled, increase access to medical, coordinate county-wide efforts, increase access to grocery store, improve awareness, add transit technology phone option, connect Cleveland RTA, improve active transportation, increase rideshare Uber Lyft. So.
Technology, I'm good.
Is there a way to modify it?
Oh, yeah, I'm putting on
Each one is last.
yeah, I go skip all around, like, all right, what's our next one?
This is what basically people have said, but we know. And I think it's in the region. But this was what specifically that you have said to us. So, Mike asked a question about, because this specifically says connection to Cleveland RTA. The reason that these unmet needs are here is these are specific items that we heard in the survey or from focus groups. You'll see when we get to the goals, where you're going to put your dots on the goals. There is one that I think says, explore or support an enhanced regional connection. It's just that every time we've asked a question, Cleveland is the number one area where people said that they need to get to. But we know it's important that if somebody's in southern Lorain County and they need to connect, if they need to connect closer, maybe someplace else. Medina or something. So. Yeah. Yeah. So did you you can go ahead and mention that. No, go ahead, say it. Mike, we're waiting as here.
No, I was just making mention that, while commuting patterns would support that, a lot of folks in Lorain County go to Cuyahoga County for work, for leisure, et cetera, but there are surrounding communities, like I know there was a project at one point, Green Circle Growers way out in Oberlin was hiring people from Norwalk. And there was a community in Norwalk and they didn't have a means of getting those people from Norwalk to Green Circle Growers. So just thinking about how it's more regional versus just getting people to Cleveland.
So what? So are you guys, yes,
No,
Grocery.
they keep taking me back to the menu, and you're thankful for joining.
County wise, give it to you, so they.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Once you answer.
Oh, you might have already answered it, is what it is, came to the end. So this is the last slide.
Oh, okay.
This is the last slide, so that's what it is. So Sherry and Marion, if you guys wanted to look those over at home and get those to me, that would be great.
So you,
Would that work?
I'm almost done with it.
Oh, okay.
I can't speak for Gary.
just, we just hand them to you?
In the order that you see as priority.
What we can,
Yeah,
just happily if you want on top.
yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay.
And
All right. So that was the end. Let me go back over here for the text. Sorry about this once again. All right. So we've seen these goals before. And once again, I'm going back to the original goals. There was one additional goal that was added in 2020, 2021. But these are the original goals. And I figured before we start putting your dots and going through what the all the goals are from which you can choose, that I would start here. So the original goals in 2018 were increase awareness of transportation options. Second was develop and implement a mobility management program. The committee that met in 2021 and 2022, I know Mike Longo was on that, in that meeting. We felt that this was complete, but we've added sections that they thought was very important to the job description for the mobility manager so that that information wasn't lost. Explore data collection and planning synergies, coordinate educational training programs, and then explore transportation pilot projects. So those were the original goals. Now I'm going to take you through what I have revised. We can wordsmith this a little bit. We'll make these sound much better than they do right now. But want to take you through each of these because what you're going to do is take your dots after we've gone through all of these and go to the wall and select your top 5. I want to go through these so maybe they can start resonating with you right now so you know exactly what you're looking at when you go up here. So we've reworded this one about increased awareness of transportation options. In 2021 and 2022, the group added through grassroots methods, targeted groups, and organizations. However, this is not truly a goal without some type of measurements. So what I've added in here are some measurements to determine whether that goal has been met, because when I report back quarterly to ODOT, they always want to know, have you met this goal? And all the time I'm saying it's ongoing, it's ongoing. So I figured it's better to set some type of goal to say whether or not we feel we've been successful at meeting it. So I put in here 500 individual Lorain County mobility management promotional items, attending 10 tabling events, speaking to at least 6 groups about mobility management, not including the TAC meetings, participating in 5 organization meetings that have to do with seniors, people with disabilities, low income, or the workforce, hold at least 5 focus groups of segmented populations, the ones I just mentioned, and then identify 4 positive stories to share about mobility management and how we've been able to help. So this is on an annual basis, some of the goals that are suggested based on, and this is all based on the targeted group or the focus groups in the survey. So this is the third screen. Okay, yeah. So next is analyze data collection and planning synergies. The addition is by either completing a survey or focus groups. Every year I was doing a survey, but we found out through the Ohio Department of Transportation, we don't have to do that. It can just be focus groups. That will be less costly than having to do a survey year after year. And every time we've done the survey, we've had a decrease in the amount of people participating. So maybe just doing focus groups would be good. And so that's how what I am suggesting for this piece as we move forward. And that's 5 to 10 groups per year. Next. Oh, that one. Coordinate educational training groups. And what I've added is by providing regularly established bus rides on fixed routes, learn the use of variety of transportation modes, not just transit, and train others how to use them. And providing transportation mode tips at least once a month through social media or other means. Once again, some of these additions were added so that we have a measurement in place. Okay, next. Explore transportation pilots. This one would be every 5 years. Explore, lead, or support 2 pilot projects related to the 4 segmented groups: seniors, people with disabilities, low income, or the workforce. One of the goals that was mentioned during the 2021-2022 groups was secure resources and upgrade the infrastructure to make public transit more user friendly. I need to reemphasize, I am not in charge of that. I cannot do that. I can only do and support the resources that exist and the organizations that are willing to do it. So that's why this goal has been revised to say support Lorain County Transit and other transportation modes efforts to expand service offerings to be friendly and inclusive. So next. So this is a new one that we heard a lot about at the focus groups, which is to improve clarity and awareness of Lorain County transit systems, raise awareness and understanding of Lorain County transit systems by developing and implementing effective education and communication strategies, including providing more information and route schedules and services. That is something that I can do as mobility manager on all modes, not just transit, but transit was the main area that people in these focus groups did mention. So next, here's another new one. Support and enhance regional connectivity. Support seamless transportation between Lorain County and Cleveland area, as well as across other county lines by assisting with transportation solutions that bridge these regional gaps at an affordable cost. So that's where I was kind of like trying to be all areas in that touch Lorain County.
Is that kind of what Noaca was talking about?
Yeah. So here, we're almost to the end. Increase access to reliable medical and food locations. You saw those, there's 2 unmet needs. We might put those together. I'm suggesting by 25% over 5 years. We can see that a lot of that is starting to happen in Lorain already. So to establish dependable transportation system that ensures residents can access medical appointments and general shopping with a focus on pharmacy and grocery stores. And I know that there's a food board initiative going on. I've been talking to Second Harvest, and they would really like to be able to help support getting people to food. And so that's part of this, the idea behind this too. And then I think we have 2 more. Create transportation options that meet the needs of 5 Lorain County employers, improving access to job opportunities, reducing transportation-related barriers to employment over the next 5 years. So addressing the specific needs of local workforce, promoting job access, reducing transportation-related barriers to employment, and supporting economic growth. It's 11 o'clock. Yeah. Yes. Who has to go? You do, right? Okay. And let me see if that's, okay, we have one more. Support opportunities for accessible transportation for all, to make transportation more accessible to individuals with disabilities, the elderly, and other underserved populations by implementing enhancements that cater to the specific needs by 25% over the next 5 years. Now that, what we've kind of been discussing is maybe up to 25% of those in our transportation guide we're identifying as wheelchair accessible or they have some type of accessible means that we can be promoting to make sure that we're being more inclusive. And I think that that is it. So any questions on these goals? Yes.
Like 3 goals ago, the access to food and medical. I guess I'm just interested what the 25% is in relation to, like 25% more food locations or 25% more population that can reach it. There's a couple different ways that you can do that measure.
Right now, wherever a bus or a mode of transportation can reach, 25%. I'm thinking on fixed route, but I would love to hear input from anybody else as to what that should be. The reason I say that is right now, unfortunately, Lorain County Transit only touches one Walmart. And I was in Elyria, saw people from Lorain on that bus. And so right now, there's nothing that goes to the Lighthouse Village. I've heard people want to go to Amherst, Meyer, and Giant Eagle. We don't touch any of those places. It does go to Apples, but people want to go to some of these other places. So in my mind, I was thinking, if we continue to have fixed routes, how can we reach 25% more of these food locations? But I'm willing to hear any other.
Does that in itself take into consideration like the pilot mayor shared already will increase reliable medical? You know, you look at the first route and you mentioned that it was mostly medical, like already we're starting to have ways of meeting these goals.
Yes, and Oberlin is looking at designing routes too. And I know that those are some of the things that they're looking at as well. So those things, they're starting to happen already. So we probably can increase it. Yes, I'm cheating a little bit by knowing that these things are happening. But this is what was mentioned though at the focus groups and what they said that they needed. So any other questions, comments? Go ahead and see what the. Okay, now it's time to use your dots and get up and vote. Now, I will tell you that I put 2 things together, the improve awareness and the improve clarity. Those are almost similar, but they're almost at the same time different. So I put those 2 next to each other so that you can decide, are they both important or is one more important than the other? But the other ones are in the order that we read up here on the screen. So
5 dots because we have 5 goals.
You're allowed to choose 5 goals.
That's it? No.
Question about that clarity. What is clarity versus awareness?
Clarity is that what we heard is that people don't know the routes, how to use the bus, all that. Awareness is just what do we have? In 2018, half the people on our survey said that they didn't know what options existed. So you needed to make people aware of the options that existed. Now is that they know how do they use it.
For going to the event.
That's what I would say. Yeah, right. All right, it looks like most people have kind of finished putting their dots up. So it was brought to my attention, maybe that, or it was suggested that maybe I open this up to the community. So we are going to allow another week for other people to be able to participate, to say if they agree. I'll put these in the order in which I'm probably in the same order, but let's count and see here how many we have. So right now under increased awareness.
You only choose 5 out of the 5.
Alright, you ready?
Yes.
All
right. We're gonna go ahead and see which ones have some of the top votes, and then it's all for you guys to get into small groups and have discussions about some of the top votes. So for increased awareness of transportation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For improved clarity, we had 2. Analyze data collection, and planning synergies. We have 1, coordinate educational training programs. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 4, hold on, I'm adding more. Transportation, pilot projects, go ahead, if you haven't added yours, I'll take a look and see if that makes a difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or, support Lorain County Transit and other transportation modes efforts to expand offerings to be friendly and inclusive. Support and enhance regional connectivity. 8. Increase access to reliable medical and food locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So far, this, well, we'll see. Create transportation options that meet the needs of at least 5 Lorain County employers over the next 5 years. We have. We have 5. So we have 20 on this one. And for support opportunities for accessible transportation for all, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2. So right now, support opportunities for accessible transportation for all came in at about 22. We still have people putting some dots on. We'll see if it makes 20. We have 2 that are tied. Create transportation options that meet the needs of Lorain County employers over the next 5 years, and then increase access to reliable medical and food for both tied at 20. And it looks like we have 2 at 17, which is support Lorain County Transit and other transportation modes efforts to expand service offerings to be friendly and inclusive. And this, let's see, do we get it that one? Yeah. And then 19, explore transportation pilots.
Sure, that's got 19.
Okay, 19. Okay, so for now, it looks like we found our kind of our top 5 ones. And so what we would like to do is for the top 5 ones, if you resonate with one of these, we would love for you, for that group to get together and have a discussion about what does that really mean? What are some possible action steps? What ideas do you have around those goals? Because that's going to help me write the plan. I want to make sure that we're having input from all of you on this. So, like I said, let me take down these others. And what you can do is write on the. Go ahead and write right on the sheet. So. Different tables. So if you're interested in discussing pilot projects, it's going to be on this table. If you're interested in expanding transit, supporting expanding transit and making it more inclusive, that's going to be on this table. Increased access to medical and food. will be at this table. You can write right on these. Transportation for employers. Let's go back here. And then accessible transportation for all. You know what, I'm gonna. Marion and Jerry, do you guys want the accessible transportation for all sheet? Have a discussion. I just wanted to ask, I didn't want you to assume.
I'm speaking for me, I'm. I'll-
You didn't want it, okay, so you can come up here with, Marion. So you can move to those, one of those locations and just have a discussion on those, that would be great. Have a 15 minutes. To something that you resonate with.
Pilots that I think is so we got the motor students, we got the bike pilot programs, we got the tickets to ride. It would be funded by employers and the customer. They actually, you know, have discounts because it's a part of it. So a part of that is not the check.
How about we come back together right now and hear.
I got all. They got me going over this thing.
I would love to hear your feedback, no matter what it is. And see from your discussions today, even if it's something you've learned that's new. So let's, we're breaking up. Okay.
These are the breaks.
All right.
Breaking it up.
Okay, let's start with this group up here. What goal did you have? And just let us know what you guys discussed.
Okay, so I had explore transportation pilot projects. Explore, lead, or support at least 2 pilot projects related to one of the specific 4 segmented groups over the next 5 years. Now, I just started the conversation out with Aaron here, who is a strategic manager for the Lorain Public Libraries. I am P2R Training and Resource Center, Workforce Coordinator, Supervisor, Outreach Specialist. I started out the conversation with this big pilot program I seen in my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, about this bike ramp up, where, you know, a company came into the city and they've got bike stations all over the city where people can rent bikes, get to work, do what they need to do as far as a bike program. Well, Aaron says to me, real nice and humble, we do that at the library. I said, what? So with a library card, a person can rent a bike for a day for free. So I said, wow, well, we need to probably get some attention to that program, ramp it up. Well, there's certain libraries that have those bikes on hand. She's gonna email me a list of the libraries that have it on hand. I just had a young man we helped get a job down here at the diner, troubled, you know, wanted to change his life. So we were able to get him some shoes, work shoes, a manager to work with him, never worked before. And we had to go get him a bike yesterday. I wish I would have known he could get one for free. But day 3, he's doing well on the job. Was a little late here to this meeting, checking in with the manager. They love him. And we got him a bike so he could get to work. I'm on my way to work this morning. I see him riding his bike to work. Day 3, walked to work yesterday, South Lorain all the way down here. So that bike program was something I wanted to present today, like I'm really saying something different and new. My little bubble was busted, but ramping that up, getting attention to some bike, partnering with, I'm partnering already with Elyria Bike Center. They'll sell a bike to somebody for as little as $40. Their challenge is getting the volunteers, because it's a nonprofit organization, getting volunteers in there to fix the bikes and man that particular operation. So right now they're down to 2 days a week. So let's, you know, keep them in our thoughts. And if you know anybody that works on bikes, retired, can help them, that organization, because they've helped us tremendously with selling bikes to our clients. That's number one. Number two, the little motor scooter thingy, getting that pilot going, maybe some kind of way. I don't know all the logistics, but I've seen in Louisville, it works. It's still working. There's a company that goes around and finds them everywhere, retrieves them, fixes them, and gets them back in their little
I mean, the
stations.
scooters?
The little motor scooters.
Well, go ahead, Hannah.
No, you're good. So the city of Lorain has had some conversations
Okay,
with a scooter company. I'm not gonna disclose which one just yet, but it is on our radar. We are looking into it. There's just a couple of like
Yeah.
samples that we need to get through with our legal team.
They were
Awesome.
looking at that before the transit pilot project, and they
Okay.
decided to move forward with the transit
Okay.
pilot project. That was gonna help a lot more people
okay,
get to the needed areas.
Right.
So, cause we were having some discussions, cause the Lorain Active Transportation, group, Lorain Connected Group was talking about that, and we started off with scooters. Then
okay.
we wound up with transit, and that seems to, that'll move a lot more people.
Absolutely. And then finally, okay, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And then finally, a ticket to ride program that I seen in Louisville, where a company came up with the transportation idea to work with employers and do like a ride share, charge that person a couple of dollars, and maybe the employer throws it in as a match. And they meet at a strategic location and get people back and forth to work in those little 12 to 17 passenger, little snappy,
Yeah.
little sporty little
And
vans.
we did that
Okay.
pilot with Togus and Avian.
Okay.
From Lorain and Elyria,
Yeah.
temporarily. So we have some experience with that.
Awesome.
But yes, we know exactly what you're talking about. So thank you.
Okay.
Marion, you wanted to say?
I just wanted to make a comment about the scooter thing. So preemptive strike. As a member of the National Federation of the Blind, I attend Lorain County chapter and Cleveland chapter meetings. The Cleveland chapter had an opportunity to meet with the mayor there. And one of the things that they did discuss was the scooters being parked on sidewalks where it was not conducive for
The
people
blind.
with blind,
Okay,
And wheelchairs.
using
Okay.
guide dogs, or, a little bit easier, but if you're using a cane, sometimes the scooters get parked in such a way.
they do.
And so they came up with an idea, so be sure if you guys do this, be certain that they have some sort of barcode or number, something or other, so that the blind people, when they come across those, can snap that, send it to them, so that they know this thing is kind of parked in the way, and they can come fix the problem.
That's good.
Yeah, they
Whatever the company is. I don't know what the company in Cleveland it is that they were working that out with.
Yeah, and my problem with scooters is every city I go into, they're all over the place.
They're all over the place.
And in Oklahoma City, they have a river walk, but they said they took 40 of them out of the river.
Water. Wow.
So I think it's very key
That
that,
late.
yes, that the scooters have a designated area, and those people are charged until it's returned to that designated space. Because personally, for ADA reasons, I see them as unsafe.
Absolutely.
Because people with wheelchairs, people who have low vision, it's a problem for them. You're gonna see accidents. So I think cities have to very, 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 very carefully think about those when they're bringing them in.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion from going to other cities where I've
Yeah.
seen them all over the place, parked
They're everywhere.
everywhere.
They
I
are.
think also a preemptive strike, if I can chime in again with that, the riding them on sidewalks, like there should probably be some safety
Nice.
rules about where this is allowed and where this is not allowed, and actually some teeth for enforcing and having some accountability for the riders that violate that
Yeah.
deterrent enough, right?
All right, let's move on to the next one, supporting opportunities for accessible transportation for all. Who wants to kind of briefly mention this?
Sure, here I
Here is voluntold.
am. We, had listed out just like some wishes.
Okay.
That's kind of what we did with our conversation. So these are just wishes, not arguing like we need this now. But having some type of system that announces the stops. So they can automatically like hear that people are getting on and off. I mean, when your stop is coming, I'm sorry. Because right now you can tell the driver But we feel as the capacity gets fuller on the bus, the driver is gonna lose his mind, because he's gonna be like, I don't know who said what to me. So having that announcing of the stops, this was kind of cool, wheelchair seats, like foldable seats, instead of, being in the back. It was brought to our attention that when you are in the back of the bus, on a wheelchair and you hit those bumps, that if you're going through some excruciating pain, that it actually hurts. So there's like these like bus seats that they fold up and you can just slide right in, whether you have a walker, a wheelchair, and you can kind of actually be in with everybody else instead of being pushed to the back of the bus. An app telling you where you are, like vocally, it will tell you, there's an apps in the world that say like, take 2 steps to the right. Their location is right in front of you. Take 3 steps to the left. So those type of actual telling you how many steps to take. And I guess in a different city, like New York was an example, we always go to big cities. They have a app where you can put your phone at the stop and it scans the info you need. So it's like they're all going to scanning type of mechanisms. And for our mature adults, some more lower cost options. Some options get a little pricey. It was shared with me that she had $50. She paid $26 for the ride, but then she didn't get the $24 back. She had to put it on to her next ride. She's like, well, what if I needed that back at that time? Having credit card options or a card reader, or just being able to pay in advance and booking your trips ahead of time. A fear of, it was shared with us, like a fear of, you're like trying to do your thing, you have to pay, and someone comes up and like, mugs you or attacks you because they see, you're trying to pay with your money. The other thought was on those credit card options, there was something else. Can't think.
The app. So there's an
Yes.
app that you can use that will tell you how many minutes you have
There we go.
to walk to your stop. If it's a bus stop, trolley, train, subway, whatever, it tells you what time it's going to come through that spot. And it tells you how many minutes it is to walk from whatever business or home or whatever. And if you're making a transfer from a bus to another bus or trolley, whatever, how many minutes it is from that walk from one stop to the next stop.
Yes.
It tells you how many minutes the walk is when you plan your trip.
Yes. So that was kind of like
Alright.
good wishes and things that, we hope for the future.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's go over here to this one.
All right, so our goal was support Lorain County Transit and other transportation mode efforts to expand service offerings to be friendly and inclusive. So, we talked about, ensuring those who have less current forms of communication can access. So, all lines, current printed materials, because not everybody has smartphones or the ability to access the internet. Ensuring that those printed materials and advertisements are diverse, so in multiple languages, that the pictures represent a diverse community. Are the stops physically accessible? So are there lifts on the buses or vans? Are there curb cuts so people are not tripping and falling? Obviously, increased funding is always necessary. But thinking beyond just Lorain, Elyria, and Oberlin, what are we doing to ensure that the more rural areas, townships, and suburban communities are involved in these discussions? Ensuring that drivers have necessary diversity and REI safety training, and making a coordinated effort. So it doesn't matter if you're driving for Gathering Clubhouse or for Lorain County Transit, that we're all getting the same message. And then looking into the app capabilities, is it announcing what the wait time is for the next bus or the wait time until the next stop?
All right, thank you. Food and grocery. Who wants to report out on that? Or food and medical, sorry. Okay.
So ours was increased access to reliable medical and food locations by 25% over 5 years. And I'm sorry, I can't read that smaller print. However, anyway, so we spent a lot of the time listening to the struggles of our one individual here who is a live user of these services. And, she was sharing with us, she drives, and then she had an incident where she had stopped driving and for various reasons. And trauma, for lack of a better term, of realizing you are completely at the whim of other individuals and other service providers. And, we have service providers in the county, but you've got to call, 5 days in advance, or our hours are only these specific hours. And, worrying about them coming back and picking you up, waiting 3 hours for someone to come back and pick you up, calling and leaving multiple messages. They finally show up. She was late to one of her appointments because they almost didn't come get her. I mean, just the trauma and the lack of dignity, to be perfectly honest, of having to be reliant on these other systems that just not that reliable. And so we were kind of talking through, she lives in Elyria. So obviously it's really exciting. I'm super excited for the city of Lorain, but she was saying, well, what about me? I live in Elyria. And absolutely. And then we also kind of talked about like on-demand service, because again, that's the thing, like life happens every day. So you might have an emergency, you might call a doctor and be like, something's going on, I'm feeling really well. We want you to come in and see us today. Yeah, how can she? How can these individuals just drop what they're doing when they're relying on all these other systems? So we talked through like, an on-demand and, setting up, looking at the routes and making them make more sense, within Elyria. I mean, even getting from Elyria to Lorain, Lorain to Elyria, and we're just talking about the 2 major cities, but as was mentioned, what about all the rest of the county as well? So we talked a lot about, really the access to medical and how your health is so important. And when you're having to be reliant on other systems, it really is, it takes away your dignity and your independence. And that's not okay.
In particular, we also mentioned like getting increased access for the number of people rather than the number of places.
Right.
Cause if one person can go to 5 grocery stores, good for them. But if 5 people can get to a grocery store, that's awesome. Like if more people can get to grocery stores and food banks and pharmacies and all of those kinds of places, that's gonna have a really huge impact. Whereas if you can get to a bunch of grocery stores, but only one apartment building can get there,
Right, and I think Lorain is looking at doing that. I skipped over all those streets, cause I'm getting way more familiar with Lorain probably than Kira. No, I'm not very, in my mind, I don't know what all, I'm sure when Veronica picked those, that's because there's a big population there. So you can see a lot of those were intersections where I think that there are a lot of people who could use the service to get to those other places. I was highlighting on the city of Lorain section because we know that those are places that people are saying they need to get to. So yeah, because it doesn't make sense to go, like you said, pick up one person to go to 5 different places. I found that through our pilot projects, when you can hit a place like LMHA places are ideal, and they're the one of the few that have the shelters too. That's ideal to be able to do that.
Yeah,
So
prioritizing like Section 8 housing is like big centers where a lot of people live, and also people likely do not have access to transportation in the same amounts as others.
and we're even finding, we found through the focus groups, because we went to Har Plaza and we went to International Plaza, they're in a food desert. Big one.
Many of our properties are in
Yeah,
food deserts,
yeah.
but just, we tried to.
Yes.
We tried to get transportation services paid for by LMHA, and we had almost no response from vendors who could do regular routes.
Right.
And even with the service we do provide, it does require prior scheduling.
Yes.
So it is not a good system.
Yes, and we talked with a lot of people, and that's where we heard a lot of them saying they see the bus go by, but they have no idea how to use it. They don't know. So, okay, back here for workforce. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, one moment.
When the bus goes by, is there anything on the bus, like a phone number or a website?
Well, there's one right there. No, not on that one. I don't know. Pam, do you?
We do not.
Okay.
Do any of the buses, none of the buses have? I think that would be the first thing to do to solve that problem of how to use the thing is like put a phone number and or a website. People would be able to have that to contact.
And I just want to say, I saw a thing on the news where there is a, I don't know where it is, yes, I watched the news. Some random school districts started selling, space on their buses. So people are spending ad dollars to have their organization and contact information on the side of the buses. And all the money goes back to the school district's transportation. So maybe it's.
Well, Lorain County does allow advertisement, right? Pam?
Yes.
They do allow, and that advertisement actually helps with part of the share match too, correct? So nonprofit organizations, businesses could be advertising on those buses as well. So, all right, workforce transportation.
I can't read it upside down, but, create transportation options that meet the needs of by Lorain County employers, and there's some other pieces to that. We talked a lot of just about ideas, and we talked a little bit about the pilot that you referenced earlier, where we were taking people, from Lorain and Elyria to Avon Lake, to a couple of employers paying living wage jobs there. And so we talked a lot about kind of how to identify the businesses. Do we look at number of employees? Do we look at their wages? Those types of things. So kind of some calculation of identifying which employers would qualify for the ones we want to focus on. We also talked about more looking at it like as a job hub as opposed to 5 individual employers. So is there an industrial park, or we were talking about Avient because that was the pilot. Avient and Avon Lake also has Geon and Lubrizol and a handful of others all on the same campus. So that was an example. And then we were talking about, with all of this coordination happening, is there a way to, instead of like what we were doing, which was picking up people in Elyria and driving them straight to Avon Lake, which was really cool. If we're doing these expansions, can we leverage the loops that are already here? So if we have the loops in Lorain, like what's the northeast part of that loop out on Lake Ave somewhere? Can we just have an extender going from there down Lake Avenue to Avon Lake? So if you're in Elyria and there's maybe some enhancements made to the north-south connector, they could get from Elyria to the Lorain loop to the Avon Lake job hub loop, for example. Did I leave anything out? More ideas?
All right. Thank you guys so much. I mean, this is really helpful. I mean, I'm thinking we need to probably change that goal back there, maybe to 5 locations or 5 employers, so it can be either or.
Yeah, and we did say too, some of those employers or job hubs might already be being serviced by either existing or planned routes. So with some enhancements to the existing Lorain County Transit routes, or with the new Lorain loops, we might already be hitting some of them. So it's like thinking of this goal within what we're already planning,
Right.
and then expanding out from there. So that you
Yeah, I do not believe in reinventing the wheel.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Since I'm like only been like, with this position for a year and a half, has it been done in the past or been talked about, as like a jitney type community program? Does anyone know what a jitney is?
I do.
Okay, from Chicago. When I went to school in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, in lower income areas, they have created their own community transportation system to where the people that are the locals, they would all like kind of like be on like this like building in a corner, and they would sit there. And if you needed a ride, you'd walk up and say, "Hey, I need a ride," and they trusted these people, of course, and they would like drive them around, and they would pay them and tip them, and they made their own like community. Is it like a attempt to make like a jitney?
So there has been discussions on what we would call a volunteer transportation
Something
program.
like that. You could do jobs.
Actually, Church of the Open Door had approached me a couple of years, like 4 years ago, about that, because they realized that there was a transportation need. We never got a chance to talk about that further, but there are in New York and other places where these volunteer transportation projects are working. Well, actually, Kendall and Oberlin has its own internal volunteer transportation program, because what I had heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, people were moving to Kendall going, "Oh, Kendall has a bus, we can get everywhere." Well, most of their medical appointments were in Cleveland, and they were selling their cars.
Wow.
not realizing what the problem, so they started their own internal service where they're all helping each other with a volunteer transportation
Yeah.
program.
They were saying in here, a couple friends got together and gave each other rides, but if there was like an actual space where they knew like who to.
It would be great to organize that under a volunteer transportation
Yeah.
program and get some funding for that, because a lot of times people can be paid
That'd be cool.
by mileage, and they would still be considered volunteer transportation, but in New York, they're doing that.
I was gonna say, there's something similar like that at the college among the students, they don't call it Uber, they call it Uber. And you just, in exchange for a favor, gas money, tea, like it's not really paying the person for the ride, you're just doing it as part of the community.
Oh, so Oberlin College, yeah.
See, because that's what was in college. And I thought the people were crazy, because I'm from Lorain. So like, yeah, we're gonna walk over and get this ride with these people, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I Oberlin College, there used to be an active,
That's so-and-so's uncle, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
there used to be an active board where you could post if you needed
Still
rides.
can.
Oh, you still can?
It's on Facebook now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I see someone that's like delivering meals to older adults too, like not like DoorDash for the extra people.
What is this thing on Facebook? What's the group called?
Ober,
Ober.
OBER.
Over.
Oh, that's nice.
All right, well, it is noon. I want to thank everybody. Let me just see. Oh, I didn't write down the type 5 goals. Okay. Just wanted to end with this, 2 things. Okay, so one thing is that, there are 2 more, bus rides on Lorain County Transit, Friday, November 17th at 1 PM. And I think Sherry, that might be one of the ones you want to go
What
on.
time was it? I mean,
1 PM.
Oh,
Because
what
you
day?
went on the 9 AM one with me
Yeah, yeah.
before, or the 10 AM one.
What
You
day
wanted
is that though?
on November 17th, Friday,
Yeah,
November
yeah.
17th.
Yeah.
And then Friday, December 8th would be the last one of this year at 10 AM. If you're interested, please let me know so I can send you an invite to remind you. You need to schedule about 2.5 hours out of your day to do that. We start over here in Lorain at Meridian Plaza by Social Security office. So let me know if you're interested or you know anybody else who's interested. It's it's good to get on there so you can educate other people on how to use the system. Second, interviews are starting today, but I am leaving the full-time position of mobility manager at the end of the year. And so we are hiring for the position, and so the applications are we're still accepting applications, but we are interviewing right now too. But we want to make sure that we're being inclusive, so we kept it open for now. So I wanted to let you know about that.
And I think everybody should give Sharon Pearson a round of applause. I think what you've done is incredible, Sharon, 5 years ago,
I had no idea what I was doing.
I know, trust me too, you're like, how did this, like, I don't know. But like, the progress we've made in this community has been incredible, and that is owed to you, so
Thank you. Thank you.
you blush.
So this might change a little bit, but I wanted to let you know what the next steps are. Because we're gonna keep this open for the general public to make comments on the goals and the unmet needs. I'm hoping sometime in December, this all might be pushed back a week. It's gonna go out to the community for input on the whole plan, their whole written plan to take a look at. The Move Lorain County Board needs to approve it, and then it has to go before the county commissioners as well to be approved before it goes to the Ohio Department of Transportation. This whole plan has to be completed so that we can continue to get funding into Lorain County, not only for the mobility management position, but for anybody who gets 5310 funding for vehicles as well, which we have several. And there is lots of money on the table under the 5310 program. And so we want to make sure that we keep this going. And so just want to let you know what the process is and what the results are from this process is that money from the federal government continues to flow into Lorain County to improve transportation options and resources. So with that being said, thank you very much. Don't want to hold you. This was very, very great information. I've learned a lot from all of you.
Yes, thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you today.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Here. Health department. Yeah. Need something, give me a call. Terry, good to see you. Good to see you. Absolutely.